A very, very, very good morning to all of you. You're with me, Vasam Ismail, and it's the first day of the week, and you're watching Good Morning Sri Lanka here on MTV Sports. It's a lovely morning indeed, and I'm sure a lot of you are preparing yourselves before you go to work today, and I'm sure some of you are making sure that your husband and your loved ones have breakfast and other important things prepared for the rest of the day. And in terms of breakfast and food, we have an interesting guest coming up later on in the show. He's from the hospitality industry and he is a culinary expert, and just stay tuned for that, because later on we'll be bringing him in and we'll be discussing some interesting stuff on that topic. We've got some really interesting other things coming on the show as well, and just to introduce the first thing that we have coming up, I'm going to take you to Australia and talk to you about an incident that happened recently in terms of what's been happening with their wildfires. There's been a massive heat wave in Australia which has caused wildfires there, and this is a story about a family who has been seeking refuge alongside a jetty on the lake. Let's have a look at this.
By that time I'd sent Tammy with the children to get down to the jetty because there was no other escape. And then it raged for 3 hours because there was a lot of it was a wooded point. So everything was on fire, and it was just exploding all over the place.
Yeah, I just feel blessed that my family's all together. Yeah, and Bonnie's parents are still alive. It's fantastic.
I've prayed like I've never prayed before, and I think those prayers have been answered. So, yes, Charlotte. Those prayers have been answered. So.
They're right in front of you.
Right in front of me. Yeah.
Yes, and that is an interesting story indeed. I'm really happy that they came out of it, and it's times like this where people realize how the importance of family and your loved ones. Don't just make sure, I mean, every day you spend, just make sure that, you know, you take a moment to tell your loved ones how much you love them and how much you care about them, because unfortunately, as we know, we may never know when we may or may not see them again, so it's important that they know exactly how you feel. Coming up next, we have something interesting with the Guinness Book of World Records, an entry which people in India have been thinking of. Of course, we get records for different things, but this is interesting because they've gotten close to 14,833 drummers rather to get together and in Assamese attire to play the traditional drum of the Kol in Titaba, India. They've gotten together a whole troupe to beat the Hong Kong record, which was set in 2002, which was participated by over just above 10,000 people. And India seems to be getting this record. Check it out. Yes, what really interests me about that is the fact that how much of effort they would have had to make to get just over 14,000 people together just for a world record. It sure did matter to a lot of people. Of course, there were over 14,000 people who thought it matters to get a Guinness World Record by playing the Kol. Interesting. And it's also interesting to know that they've actually got these 14,000 people together and drumming in sync, which is not an easy thing to do. On that note, we're going to take a short commercial break and come straight back in here. Good morning, Sri Lanka. Thank you. Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. You're with me, Vasam Ismail, here on MTV Sports. Last week on the show, we were talking about smartphone devices and different kinds of technology. We were also talking about things that Google had launched in terms of their new Project Glass, which comes in the form of goggles, which is also like a smartphone converted into a pair of specs, which is quite cool. But here's something I never really imagined that would happen. They've actually got cutlery into a smart device. Now imagine a fork which you're going to use in your day-to-day life to eat, to help eat rather, and imagine this fork giving you smart tips in terms of the calorie intake, the kind of food you have, and for example, it measures the amount of speed is used when you are consuming food, and it actually beeps if you are consuming your food too fast. Check this out. Well, we live in a world where everything is integrated in terms of technology. All your information, personal information, is all synced between your mobile with applications and with the iPad, your computer, and now with cutlery. It'll be really interesting to have a fork that vibrates and gives you alerts. On that note, I'm just going to introduce our guest for the show, who happens to come from an industry which relates to the video you just saw. And his name is Asanka Karunaratna, and he is the head chef at the Seafood Cove restaurant in Mount Lavinia Hotel. Hello, Asanka.
How are you, Wasim?
Thank you for joining us in the show. What did you think of the video you just saw?
It's a pretty good, actually, because that can help a lot of people with the diseases that reduce their diseases, especially weight gain, and that can help to a lot of people to
so do you think, Asanka, that they will introduce things like this in the future in restaurants itself?
I'm not sure. Maybe you can, but then again, if you're going to introduce things like that, it's going to be a cost factor can affect.
I see. Chef Asanka, would you just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you started off in the industry? What inspired you to get into culinary art?
Actually, when I was I always grown up around the food because my parents had restaurants and things like that, and I just always been around the food. And when I'm growing up, after I finish A-levels and high studies, and I want to be not a chef. I never thought about to be a chef. I want to become a lawyer or someone with accountant or lawyer or something, and pretty much I follow a law. And I done my law entrance and everything, and not enough marks to get in. Then I thought, don't waste the time. I always hang around with the food. I have a passion for the food. Then I started cooking, and then I went to Australia. I was 20, just finished I think 2021, and I studied there, and I finished my study and become a chef.
I see. So can I say that after you studied law, you were hungry for something else?
You can say that, hungry for food. Then that's what happened. That it's an amazing thing. People want to be something, and then you end up being something else because you really find out what you want to do when you're growing up, and it's a passion. Suddenly, it's come up to you, and that's what I want to become a chef, and that's what I did.
If I'm not mistaken, you've been in Australia for quite some time in your life. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I've been in Australia about 16
years. Okay.
16 years, and pretty much study and worked all over the Melbourne, Australia, and it's a good experience. And you're working with a lot of chefs, and you see a lot of new modern way techniques in terms of cookery, and always you talking about the food, and you have easy access to new technology.
I see.
And
when you mean new technology, can you elaborate a little on that? How is
it's all about? There's a media is more powerful in there.
Okay.
And you have a lot of programs and a lot of chefs that you see in YouTube or internet or any. There's a lot of magazines that you can get, and because of that, you won't go backwards. Always you update your what I call your knowledge.
Okay.
And then you always stay on the par level, in the modern par level, and rather than
Chef Asanka, will you tell me, is there a specific kind of culinary which you specialize in?
I call it a modern Australian cuisine, because what it is, you get the best product out from Australia, and then you use your knowledge about other culinary, other cuisines, and then you create something that you like to eat, and you create something that which your signature in it.
Okay.
That's what I do. I never follow the recipes or anything. Whatever you see,
you do it in your own style.
Own style.
I guess that's a mark of a chef, a good chef.
That's correct.